China has claimed its military responded in a reasonable and lawful manner when intercepting an Australian military surveillance aircraft over international airspace last month. A Chinese defence spokesperson says Beijing's military identified the RAAF plane and warned it to leave, as the Australian aircraft seriously threatened China's sovereignty and security. The Australian government raised its concerns after a Chinese fighter jet intercepted a surveillance plane in the South China Sea region in May. It was reported that Chinese aircraft flew beside the Australian surveillance plane before cutting across its front and releasing small pieces of aluminium that were ingested by the plane's engine. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has described reports of Chinese warplanes harassing Canadian patrol aircraft in the North Pacific as extremely troubling. Mr. Trudeau said the situation was being taken very seriously, denouncing Beijing's actions as irresponsible, provocative and unprofessional. In some of the incidents, Canadian crew deployed in Japan on North Korean surveillance were forced to change flight paths to avoid a potential collision. Other cases reported Chinese planes flying so close to Canadian aircraft that they were very clearly visible. The complaints come days after a furore over similar behaviour reported between Chinese jets and RAAF aircraft in the South China Sea. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has survived a confidence vote against his leadership. He recorded a 63-vote majority, which sees him cling to power a while longer. But questions now remain over the strength of his leadership.
I can report as returning officer that 359 ballots were cast, no spoiled ballots, that the vote in favour of having confidence in Boris Johnson as leader was 211 votes, and the vote against was 148 votes. And therefore, I can announce that the Parliamentary Party does have confidence.
The result points to a simmering civil war within the Conservative Party about the Prime Minister's role following Sue Gray's report into lockdown parties at number 10 Downing Street. Boris Johnson claimed the result was a decisive one.
I think this is a very good result for politics and for the country. I do. Just in this sense, I think it's a convincing result, a decisive result, and what it means is that as a government, we can move on and focus on the stuff that I think really matters to people.
Former High Commissioner to the UK, Alexander Downer, says how Mr Johnson tackles the economy and cost of living will be crucial to regaining public support.
He isn't seen to be, though, a Prime Minister who's very good at economics. And if you're the leader of a country and you're not good at managing the economy, it's probably going to be fatal for you.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's leadership is still under threat as MPs consider changing the rules. A leading Conservative committee of backbench Tories is looking at reducing the waiting period for a second no-confidence vote to 6 months. Under current rules, the party must wait a year if a leader survives the vote. The full US Senate GOP conference is meeting to discuss potential gun reform talks. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling for a deal within the next few days, but there's still a divide between Democratic and Republican lawmakers.